Hey everyone, welcome to Healthy Waves, the podcast where we dive deep into the transformative ideas with the incredible experts from around the globe. So, dear listeners, this isn't just a podcast. So, it's an experience of collective wisdom, exploration, and inspiring stories. So, together we will navigate the topics that matter: mental resilience, personal growth, and the health breakthroughs, and everything in between. So, whether you are here to learn, to connect, or to grow, then you are in the right place. So let's catch some healthy waves all together. So, dear listeners, before we jump into our discussion today, because our topic is very great, where we'll be talking about, as I already mentioned, about resilience, purpose, and power of mindset for a fulfilling life. But before we do that, I'll quickly love to introduce you to all of our lovely guests. So, starting with Maikel Michiels. So, dear listeners, Maikel is after enduring years of bullying that shattered his confidence and self esteem, he faced his darkest moment. So instead of giving up, he embraced the personal growth and rebuilt himself piece by piece. So, with over 15 years, Michael has discovered actionable strategies to overcome limiting beliefs, boost discipline, and transform habits. So his mission is very clear, to be the mentor he wishes like he had at 15. So please join me in welcoming a warm welcome to the resilient and the inspiring Michael McKells. So welcome to the show, Michael.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. And I'd love to have this discussion to bring some value to you and your listeners.
Definitely lovely. Would love to listen to that. And dear listeners, on the other hand, we have Deborah Heiser. So dear listeners, uh, I mean, she has dedicated her life to helping people find the purpose and thrive as they age. So, Dr. Deborah is an applied developmental psychologist, TEDx speaker, author, and the founder of the Mentor Project. So, with a career spanning research, teaching, public speaking, she's an authority on mentorship and the psychology of midlife. So she is here today to share her insights on how connections, giving back, and finding purpose can transform our lives. So let's give a big, healthy wave welcome to Dr. Deborah. Welcome to the show, Dr. Deborah.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Lovely, lovely. And on the other hand, dear listeners, we have Jason Yun. So, dear listeners, Jason's journey has been a quest for true health, like from a fitness and nutrition guru to a light and circadian health expert. He learned that what truly matters isn't food or exercise, but the rhythms that govern our biology. So his transformation, like from struggling with depression and anxiety to reversing the health challenges, is a testament to his relentless pursuit of knowledge. So his passion for helping others reclaim their health is unparalleled. So please welcome the innovative and dynamic Jason Yoon. So welcome to the show, Jason.
Thank you, Avik. Appreciate being here.
Lovely, lovely. So 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 to start with, when we are talking about resilience, purpose, and power of mindset, first I'll come to Michael. Michael, your journey from being bullied to becoming a mentor is definitely powerful. And uh, so on this, uh, if you can share, what was the turning point that made you choose life and growth over despair?
It, for me, was a necessity. Back when I was being bullied, when I was like 12, 13, 15, until like 16-ish, back then I just didn't feel good about myself. I felt like giving up at some point and even just contemplating just ending it all, suicide.
Mm.
And so at that point, I just had to make the choice. personal development was not an option for me, because otherwise I wouldn't be here at all. And so at that time, there was also a voice inside of me that spoke up like, hey, come on, you can do more than this. You can overcome these challenges. You can do 100 times more than your bullies could ever dream of becoming. And so that's what got me started from very, very small beginnings to developing myself, to just stepping it up, to overcoming those obstacles. And like I said, like either you get better or you get better. And I could have just given up, but instead I chose everlasting personal growth, personal development. And I think that choice is there for all of us.
True. Exactly. And thanks for sharing this, Michael. And uh, so I'll come to Jason. So Jason, like you have described that your journey as leveling up in a video game. And what was the boss level moment that forced you to completely change your approach to the health?
Um, well, it was around 2016 to about 2018. So I started suffering from hormonal problems, and at the time I was in my late 30s. And I mean, for somebody that's supposed to be a fitness and wellness professional, helping people get healthy, that was just unacceptable to me. So I started, well, I knew I needed to do something. And that was the second time that my coach, my personal coach, my mentor, reappeared in my life, Dr. Jack Cruz, and who basically reintroduced me back into the world of circadian biology, mitochondrial health, light, water, magnetism, all that stuff. First time I was introduced was 2013, but I wasn't ready for it. I still had fitness programs to sell you, fishing programs to sell you, supplements to sell you. But they always say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And in my case, it was the teacher reappeared. And ever since then, the 2018 is when I started adapting everything and basically changing my life. And it happened really, really fast. So, but it took a while for me to actually step on the gas pedal to actually go, because my mind was so patterned into nutrition, into fitness, and that's the way you get healthy. But it's a half truth. It's a half lie. So that was what really drove me over the edge. And now it's something I teach every day, and I will continue to teach it. So
Lovely, lovely. Thanks for sharing this, Jason. And I'll come to Deborah. So you have worked extensively on finding the purpose in the midlife and the beyond. So why do you think that people often struggle with this? Like, uh, I mean, and how can mentorship play a role in this discovering purpose?
So, most people think of our lifespan as a physical trajectory, and it's scary for most of us. If you think about it, the end result is death. And if you were to look at our lifespan, it's an inverted V with a steep incline and then a slow, steady decline physically. So most people think of our lifespan like that. And it makes people think, well, there's nothing really I have to look forward to in midlife and beyond. But what I ended up learning, and what I'm trying to really help other people to understand, is there's an emotional journey as well. And we don't think about that or talk about it. And that is one that's been well researched, and shows that we should expect to be happier as we get older. There are all these wonderful emotional things that we should be expecting. And it happens right in midlife that we have this wonderful turning point. So when we're younger, it's where we're trying to figure out who we are. We're having all kinds of things that are, boxes that we need to check off in order to, get a job or do the things that we need to do. But in midlife, that sorts itself out a little bit. And we come to a point where we are done saying, hey, I want to check more boxes. I want to have meaning in my life. And we hit a stage called generativity. And it's where we're built to want to give back to others without expecting something in return. And mentorship, volunteering, and philanthropy are all parts of generativity. And I decided to focus on mentorship because it's how we give a little piece of our own expertise to others, and it lives on in them. So it's a form of immortality. And in this stage is where we get to feel like we matter, like we are leaving a footprint that is important, that the world is better because we're there. And so this sort of way of looking at life is a very important one. And because it gets us to connect with others and connect with others more deeply, and to look to others to see how we can improve their lives, because it means that a piece of us is living on in them. So it's a pretty powerful point in our lives in midlife where we see a really nice emotional shift.
Understood. Okay. Okay. Lovely. Thank you so much for sharing this, Deborah. And so I'll again come to Jason. So Jason, the circadian rhythms are a lesser known aspect of the health. So if you can explain like how these rhythms affect not just our bodies but also our mental clarity and the focus.
Sure. So, well, circadian rhythm, it was given the Nobel Prize in 2017, but it's been dictating life for billions and billions of years. As long as life has been around, we are dictated by these rhythms. So everybody knows there's a 24-hour cycle, and during the 24 hours, we're supposed to be doing certain things at certain times. But as we've advanced more technologically, I would say, we are able to modify that and not follow the principles of nature and live more in the principles of man. And that's one of the main reasons we've got all these disease and epidemics. Obesity here in the US is, I believe it's 75% or 80% of the people are either overweight or obese in this country. And then we've got major problems with diabetes, major problems with autoimmunity, heart disease, cancer, all this stuff. So circadian rhythm, we're supposed to be, so everybody sleeps, but in everybody's day, it starts at midnight, and you are supposed to be asleep by that time, because there's certain processes that are occurring that are basically supposed to restore our body, restore our hormones, replenish certain things, replenish our proteins and whatnot. And then we're supposed to wake up, so when we do wake up, certain hormones are supposed to basically push us to wake up, like cortisol. A lot of people most people will have dark days and they'll have bright nights, which is one of the reasons
Yeah.
a lot of people are destroying themselves. So when it is light outside, they'll go outside with sunglasses, they'll go outside with hats and all this stuff, blocking the natural rhythms of the sun. So they can't really get that natural rhythm. So the circadian rhythm breaks and they need to have certain things to get them through the day. So life is energy, energy is life. And if you don't have that energy, you're going to search for artificial means like coffee, simple carbohydrates, caffeine, something to just get you through the day. So I always use the analogy, or that's not an analogy, but a lot of people say, welcome to adulthood, where you're tired all day, except when it's time to go to bed.
Yeah.
So our circadian rhythm, it dictates like when our blood pressure should be highest, when we should eat, when we should not eat, when we should go to bed, when we should not go to bed, when the best time to do a strength workout is, when the best time to do a cardiovascular workout is, when we're supposed to poop, right? All these things are dictated by our circadian rhythm. And basically you can account pretty much every single disease to a either direct or an indirect breakdown of that circadian rhythm. So that's it in a
Perfect.
nutshell. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. That's really lovely. And so there were you have led a non-profit mentoring organization with over 80 mentors. So how does the act of mentoring impact the mentor's mindset and the resilience? What do you say?
Well, our mentors have all volunteered their time and they're really high level individuals. This was a surprise to most people that people who are in the top 1%, like astronauts and
Mm.
Nobel nominees, would want to mentor and give away their time for free. But what we've learned is that the mentors receive at least as much, if not more, than the mentees. We know the mentees are going to get things. People patent with us. They start companies. They do research. They do all kinds of amazing things. But the mentors, if you talk to them, they're completely moved by the knowing that they have changed the life of someone. There's something amazing about knowing that you've impacted the life of another in a positive way. And all of our mentors feel that. So while they're either retired or in their phase of working, this is probably one of the most meaningful aspects of their life because they're able to take their expertise and use that to make someone's life better or the world better. So in terms of resilience, if you feel like you're making an impact in the world, that offers you an opportunity to bounce back from whatever comes your way. So I would say that our mentors are all very resilient because they have a lot of opportunity to give back.
Wow. And also so I'll come to Jason. Sorry, Michael. Michael, you emphasize understanding how the mind works before tackling the problems. So, if you can share one practical strategy that listeners can use to better understand their own thought patterns.
Yeah, absolutely. So my reasoning is that it's better to work with yourself than against yourself. And because our minds have been programmed over literally hundreds of millions of years, a lot of the programs don't run as you would expect them in modern times.
Mm.
One example that I like to give a lot of times is procrastination. If you go online on YouTube and you look it up, you will find a lot of tutorials of, hey, use time blocking, use this app to schedule things, make it simple. You get a lot of productivity and time management tips and tricks. However, understanding your mind means that it's also realizing that it's not an issue with time management or productivity. Underneath, there are things like fear of something, fear of criticism, fear of the unknown. There is a part of us that it's called the present bias. So once you understand this, now you can work on addressing the fear, addressing some of your internal talk. And that is going to help to overcome the fear, make it a bit lighter so that you can then move forward and to simplify things so that a huge goal becomes smaller, to make it more simple, more practical to get started. So that is just one example of how understanding your mind helps you to move forward. Because if you want to solve a problem, you want to solve the actual problem, not the symptom of it.
Mm. Wow, that's a great way of explaining this. Yes, and also I'll come to Deborah. So Deborah, in your TEDx talk, you mentioned the space between falling and getting back on the horse. So, uh, like, how can people cultivate the resilience in that between space?
Yeah, in the TEDx talk, I talked about really how individuals are how we're able to look at things a little bit differently, right? How we're able to say, if we were to look at life in one way with one perspective, it just takes a second in order to put it into a different perspective. It's kind of like what Michael was just saying. that we have a choice in how we're going to look at things. And one way that we had people looking at that space was to say, hey, if I were to give you a stock portfolio option where I gave you a trajectory where it was a steep incline and a slow, steady decline, how many of you would take that? And everyone in the audience said, not me. And when I gave them another example of a stock portfolio option where I said, how would you like to take an option that started, at 0 and went all the way up and never declined? And everyone chose that one. Well, if we look at our emotional trajectory in life and our age span, most of us choose to look at our physical trajectory. We all accept that. And that is the inverted V. And that's scary to us. Most of us don't take the opportunity to look at the one that's really our emotional trajectory. So when a parent says, all I want for my child when they grow up is to be happy, somehow that gets lost along the way. But what we can expect with our emotional trajectory is for it to go up and never decline. I'm in my 50s. I'm happier than people in their 20s in general, but I can't run as fast as them. I'm wearing glasses. That has changed, but I'm happier. So it's that gray area that people can make that switch and say, I am going to look at my life a little bit differently and look at aging as a whole world of opportunity rather than a whole lot of fearful things that I'm going to face. It's looking at opportunities versus challenges.
That's so lovely. Yeah. And also, Michael, like you mentioned, like wanting to be the mentor you wish you had. What's the one piece of advice you wish someone had told you when you were struggling the most?
There we go. Like I could name 100 different things,
Yeah.
but for me personally, I think it would have been to listen to me, because I
Okay.
did have some good ideas of what I wanted, but then I let criticism from other people. Then I let some bullying, some people who say, oh no, be careful about that. I let those kinds of voices stop me from doing the things that I really wanted to do, that I at some level felt was right for me, but I let others talk myself out of it.
Oh, yeah.
So really, it's self-awareness combined with, when you know it's right, to dare to go for it, because your opinion matters more than the criticism of other people. I think that's one of the core lessons.
Hmm. Lovely. Yeah. And I'll come to Jason. Like Jason, like you have been vocal about the dangers of traditional fitness and the nutrition advice. So why do you think that so many people struggle with breaking free from these conventional narratives?
Because it's a $1 billion marketing machine. You're on the new year and you're going to see all the gyms marketing nutrition programs, all the weight loss programs, and they're going to be starting. The Ozempic is going to be marketing to people who just want to take a shortcut. So, but it's so ingrained into the culture because since like the 1990s, we've had anywhere between 50 to 100 books per year written on fitness, written on nutrition. And we keep getting fatter and we keep getting sicker. So it's going to take, it's going to take a while because people need to experiment for themselves, and they need to actually get tired of being tired. Doing the same thing over and over again, going on this fitness program and this diet, losing some weight, but eventually it comes back and then eventually it's more. And then they feel worse because now their hormones are worse because every time you try to go on a diet or try to lose weight, working out, you are basically screwing the older you, basically with the hormones. Okay. So because hormones basically control you. So that's what caused me to have another transformation in my life. But yeah, so people, if they continue this path, they just need to find the right mentor, as we've been thinking about. So you've got to find people who are not willing to stop looking for the truth. And the truth, in my opinion, is the fitness industry, the nutrition industry, they're selling half truths. And they're selling the fact that if you lose the weight, you're going to feel good, you're going to look good. Okay. You may look good, but you probably aren't going to feel good. And if you do feel good, it's not going to be for too long. And I'd say, back when I was doing that, I felt good, and I thought I felt good, and I thought I looked good. But compared to how I feel now, following circadian biology, mitochondrial health, it's night and day. So it's just,
Okay.
it's just the people have to reach a point where it's time to say, that's enough of that. I'm not falling for that again.
Exactly. Yeah. Perfect. Great. Lovely. And so this is for all of you. I mean, so if you could give one piece of advice to someone who is looking to transform their life, then what would it be? I mean, anyone can start. Yeah.
I would like to say that one of the first things I would suggest to people is to look to your connections. We have people in our lives that we often overlook or take for granted, people who do believe in us and think highly of us. So look to your left and look to your right, because you likely have someone in your corner, and that's someone that you can reach out to and say, hey, here's how I'm feeling. Here's how I'm looking at things, and get their perspective, because they likely will be able to give you one that you weren't considering.
Wow. Lovely.
Yeah, I think that's definitely great advice, because life is not long enough to make all of the mistakes yourself. Sometimes you just need to listen to someone who has made a few mistakes and to tell them, hey, don't do that. Right? But one of the other things I would say is that expect it to be difficult. Expect there to be obstacle after obstacle after obstacle after obstacle in your way. Expect difficulty. But at the same time, realize why you're doing this. Because that is what gets you through when times get difficult. For me, for example, I'm trying to build up my YouTube channel and my blog and all of those things. And it's incredibly difficult. But I know that I want to make an impact in people just like myself who struggles with similar things. That is my reason. If it was just, I want to make some money, I would have given up a long time ago. So really connecting with a deeply emotional reason why you must succeed, that's going to help you when those obstacles come, to either go over them, go to the side, go under them, break through them. But without those strong emotional reasons, you're most likely to give up in those times.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I would say, well, I started re-listening to my psycho-cybernetics book on Audible, probably for like the 6th or 7th time. So that's a book I would highly recommend if somebody is struggling. But one thing that he does say in there, one of the most important things, or probably the most important thing, is you've got to have goals. So you've got to have goals for your life. Back when I was going through my depression and anxiety in my mid-20s, I didn't have any goals. So I was just working basically a second shift job. My goal was just to make it through the shift. And I didn't really have anything in no purpose to help people and do all this other stuff and make other people's lives better. So that's something that needs to be set. I mean, you could just start with 1 or 2 goals for 1 month or maybe a quarter. Doesn't need to be like the whole year, because a lot of people are going to be setting these New Year resolutions. Resolutions are basically crap. I mean, 90% of them fail. So it's about setting goals each and every month rather than just setting a resolution that you're haphazardly going to follow. So it's finding your goals and finding a purpose to write your goals so you can get to that purpose.
Wow. Lovely. Great. Lovely. So what an incredible conversation today. Dear listeners, like from resilience and mindset to purpose and health, our guests have shown us that what's possible when we commit to growth and understanding. So, dear listeners, if you have found value in today's conversation and the discussion, do not forget to subscribe, share, and leave us a review. And let's keep riding this healthy waves all together. And at the same time, remember that transformation starts with one simple step. And why not take it today? So, until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and keep thriving. So, thank you so much.